Hello, people of YouTube. This is Gray's Guitars. Thank you for watching. Today we are talking about Dean and how they need to stop producing a couple of guitars. So Dean must stop producing V, Z, and Grand Sport electric guitars after latest ruling in Gibson trademark infringement lawsuit. Gibson describes the court's verdict as a victory for its fans, artists, and dealers, and for all of the iconic American brands that have invested in meaningful innovations. After winning a multi-million-dollar trademark lawsuit against Dean Guitars back in May, Gibson has secured another victory against the Dean's parent company, Armadillo. By order of the court injunction, Dean will no longer be able to manufacture, advertise, and/or sell guitars infringe upon the Gibson's ES, SG, Flying V, and Explorer trademarks and its Hummingbird's wordmark. As a result, Dean must cease production and marketing of its Luna, Athena 501, Grand Sport, V, and Z models, and any other guitar with the advertised word Hummingbird. So let's see here. I actually want to see what this one looks like. Okay, oh, so that's like a Luna. Yeah, I've heard of Luna guitars. But yeah, that is very close to a Gibson ES35. And this one I don't understand. So this is the Grand Sport. Maybe it's a headstock thing, possibly, but this is definitely not like a one-off of an SG. This is like a warped Gibson SG, if you will. So Gibson is once again very pleased with the outcome after years of simply trying to protect its brand business through well-recognized intellectual property rights that have been Gibson's for decades, the guitar giant says in a new press release. Gibson guitar shapes are iconic and now are firmly protected for the past, present, and future from a broader perspective. This court decision is also a win for Gibson fans, artists, and dealers, not to mention for all the iconic American brands that have invested in meaningful innovation and continued production only to see it diluted with unauthorized and often illegitimate knockoffs. I wouldn't call it a knockoff. It's not. They're not advertising it as a Gibson Explorer. They're not advertising it as a Gibson SG. It's a Dean whatever. Gibson can now focus attention continuing to leverage its iconic past and invest in future innovations with confidence. According to theguitar.com, Dean must not only cease production of the aforementioned models, but Armadillo and its investment partner, Concordia, may also be required to pay Gibson over $330,000 in legal fees. This massively changes the financial burden placed on Armadillo as a result of the initial ruling in May, in which it found guilty of trademark infringement and counterfeiting. Gibson awarded just $4,000 in damages. The new ruling banning this production and marketing of specific models looks to be a different outcome than the one outgoing Dean CEO and President Evan Rubinson was hoping for. Spitting major rulings in Dean's favor, Rubinson praised the vindication of his company, writing, "We are thrilled that a Texas jury has vindicated Armadillo in ruling for Armadillo on its defense of Gibson trademark's claims for a Dean V guitar, Dean Z, Evo headstock." He also told Guitar.com in June, "We have no plans to drop the V, Z guitars, nor the Dean Evo headstock design, and the juror found no trademark liability on any of those." So, yeah. Basically, you're not going to see the V's anymore. You're not going to see this style of Dean headstock anymore. You're not going to see the Luna anymore. And you're not going to see the Dean Grand Sport anymore. The only way I can think of them kind of getting out of this, so to speak, is instead of making these essentially a one-off minus the headstock, you know, a one-for-one comparison to the Gibsons, just change it up a little bit. I mean, change it up. Just a little bit. I mean, look at what ESP does. Let's see, ESP guitars. Let's just do some images here. So they have an offset Flying V. They have an Explorer. They have a Les Paul. They have a Strat. They have an SG. And for whatever reason, Gibson has yet to come after them. You would think they'd be coming after them next. But all of them are slightly different. So they're not a one-off. Now, the Grand Sport, I don't see it. I honestly don't see it. This, compared to a Gibson SG, I'll just give you a reference here real quick. So, you know, look at the horns. Here, the horns kind of bulge out of the top. So, I mean, it's similar, don't get me wrong. It's definitely, you look at it and you instantly think SG copy, but I don't think it's close enough where it should matter. The Luna Athena 501, kind of. I mean, the body shape is definitely a one-off. The layout, the pickups, the bridge, headstock, not so much. It's a little different enough. But that's I mean, ultimately what they want. So Dean is saying in June, back in June, that they're just not. There's no trademark liability on any of those. They're not going to drop any of them. But the ruling says otherwise. The ruling also says that the sub-brand of Dean, Armadillo, needs to pay Gibson $330,000 in legal fees. So not looking too good. So I mean, ultimately, we might see some funky guitars. They might. Basically, I can guarantee you they have a lot of these lying around still, so it wouldn't surprise me if they just slightly modified them so they're not one-offs, so that way they can just throw them out on the production line. It's kind of weird. I mean, I don't really see it. The headstock shape, I mean, kind of maybe there was like an old patent, I think very old in the 50s, where it looked kind of similar to that kind of V-style headstock, I guess, is what you could call it. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I can definitely see Gibson going after a lot more brands other than, Dean. I mean, LTD. I think Schecter has some similarities. Jackson, perhaps. I know they're kind of offset, but who knows? I mean, we'll see. The sky's the limit. Depends on how much money Gibson ultimately wants to dump into this. But you're not going to be seeing these. They may become rare. They may become more expensive, so it might be a good time to pick one of these up. But other than that, I mean, the only one I ever thought to buy here is the Cadillac, I believe it's called, out of these. And that one's not on the chopping block, so I can still get one of those if I choose to in the future. V's and Explorer styles, I've always liked the Gibsons. I've always liked the LTDs. I've never thought, oh boy, a Dean Flying V guitar, let me go buy that. And not to say that it's undesirable, but it's just not something that, I thought to buy. It's not something that I would go out of my way to buy unless it was like a really good price. If it's something like where I can get it for like $100, yeah, what the heck? Why not? I'll definitely try it out and play it. And Deans are, and they're decent guitars. I've never had a problem playing a few of them. But it is what it is. So if you think these are going to be worth something more in the future, which they probably will be, look at Gibson lawsuit guitars, look at those crappy 60s guitars from the old Sears catalogs that go for like $400 now. That used to be worth like $50. Back in the day, Kurt Cobain was lighting those things on fire faster than somebody with allergies going through tissues. But that's where we're going to end it. My name is Steve Gray. This is Gray's Guitars. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.